Did you know that Ferrari, one of the most iconic teams in history, is facing serious problems with its new SF-25 single-seater? And Charles Leclerc himself has exposed the car's most critical flaws. Stay with us to find out all the details. Today, we're going to reveal what's wrong with the SF-25 and how Ferrari, with its championship ambitions, is struggling to stay competitive against McLaren and Red Bull. But first, let me know your opinion in the comments. Do you think Ferrari will be able to overcome these challenges this year? I want to know. Ferrari entered the 2025 season with high expectations. After a close 2024 season, where it missed out on a mere 14 points from McLaren in the Constructors' Championship, the SF-25 promised to be the machine that would put the Maranello team back in the title fight. However, after the first few races of the season, it has become clear that things are not working as expected. One of the most glaring issues has been the SF-25's performance in high-speed corners. Throughout the season, Charles Leclerc has pointed out that the car struggles significantly in fast cornering sectors, an area where McLaren and Red Bull excel. This technical deficiency has left Ferrari out of contention on the most demanding and fastest circuits, where key races are held. The 2024 car, while not perfect, had superior performance in slow corners. However, Ferrari failed to improve this area on the SF-25, instead opting for a design that sought to improve performance in fast corners. At the same time, this decision resulted in an overall imbalance. Despite improvements to aerodynamics, especially with the new pull rod suspension, Ferrari has failed to find the formula to maximize performance in all corner types. This deficit has become especially evident when comparing its times with those of McLaren, which has demonstrated remarkable consistency and speed across all sectors. Another crucial aspect that has affected the SF-25's overall performance is the lack of consistent speed. Although Ferrari has shown flashes of speed in some practice sessions and races, such as FP2 in Melbourne, these moments have not translated into sustained performance throughout the race weekend. This suggests that the car lacks the stability drivers need to consistently fight for the top positions, leaving Ferrari vulnerable to direct competition. In addition to the lack of speed, reliability issues have also arisen. The double disqualification in China, where both drivers were penalized for technical errors, was one of Ferrari's toughest tests of the season opener. Ferrari was expected to start 2025 with a solid and consistent performance, but mistakes like these have only heightened doubts about the SF-25's reliability and the team's ability to react to adverse situations. Leclerc, as the team's most prominent driver, has been very open about the SF-25's shortcomings. His assessment after the Australian Grand Prix made it clear that, while the car has potential, it is not competitive enough to challenge the grid leaders. Leclerc highlighted that one of the most significant issues was a personal error at turn 11 that delayed him during the race. However, beyond driver errors, he noted that the team needs to review its strategies and better adapt to changing race conditions, especially when it comes to tire decisions, as was the case at the Australian Grand Prix, where the team delayed switching to intermediates during the rain. The SF-25, despite its great preseason promise, has not lived up to expectations, especially when it comes to competitiveness against McLaren and Red Bull. Ferrari must address these fundamental technical issues if it wants to be in contention for the Constructors' Championship in 2025. Every race missed this season could mean a step further back in the title fight, making the margin for error ever smaller. In short, Ferrari's SF-25 is far from the car the team had hoped for. Although the team has introduced radical changes to its design to improve aerodynamics and performance in fast corners, the on-track results have been inconsistent. Ferrari not only needs to correct the technical issues but also improve its decision-making and increase the car's reliability if it is to seriously challenge McLaren and Red Bull for the championship this season. Charles Leclerc, known for his honesty and transparency, has not hesitated to point out both the problems with the SF-25 and the strategic difficulties Ferrari has faced in 2025. After the Australian Grand Prix, Leclerc critically reflected on his own performance and the decisions made by the team during the race, which ended up significantly affecting his performance. One of Leclerc's most notable errors occurred at turn 11 during the race. The Ferrari driver acknowledged that he made a personal error while taking the corner, which dropped him several positions and left him in a difficult situation. Although a safety car later helped minimize the damage, the on-track error did not go unnoticed by Leclerc himself, who was self-critical about it. However, what truly amplified the frustration was the strategic decision made by the team, which seriously affected his chances of a better position in the race. The second mistake, which Leclerc believes was more costly, was the delayed decision to switch to intermediate tires when weather conditions unexpectedly changed on the track. During the race, rain began to fall unexpectedly, leading to a change in track conditions. However, Ferrari was slow to react to this situation, costing them valuable positions and further compromising their drivers' performance. Leclerc expressed his frustration at not making the right decision at that critical moment, as tire strategy in wet conditions is critical to ensuring competitive performance. Leclerc not only considered his mistake on the track a personal one, but also displayed a constructive attitude toward the team's strategic issues. At the end of the race, the Ferrari driver made it clear that both he and the team must carefully analyze the failures and learn from them. In his statement, he mentioned that the strategic error in tire selection was something Ferrari must address as a team, ensuring it would not be repeated in the future. This type of self-analysis reflects Leclerc's mindset and his desire to continually improve, both individually and collectively. In addition to this incident in Australia, Leclerc also discussed the Chinese Grand Prix, where, despite a collision with Lewis Hamilton that left his car damaged, he managed to finish as the fastest Ferrari. However, the damage to the front wing significantly affected the car's aerodynamics, resulting in increased tire degradation and a lower overall speed. Leclerc noted that, although the car had potential, the changing conditions and damage sustained during the race made it difficult to achieve a better qualifying result. This honest analysis of his performance shows that, despite the challenges, the driver still sees great potential in the SF-25, although this potential is being limited by factors beyond his control, such as strategic errors and car damage. Overall, Leclerc's statements reflect a deep self-criticism and a clear understanding of the problems Ferrari faces in 2025. Leclerc is aware that driver errors can occur, but he also emphasizes that the team's strategic decisions have an even greater impact on the outcome of races. This type of approach could be key for Ferrari to rectify its course and improve its performance this season. Furthermore, Leclerc's words also indicate that the team has much work to do to improve its ability to react to unforeseen situations, such as changing weather conditions during a race. Ultimately, Ferrari's 2025 season will depend largely on the team's ability to learn from its mistakes, both strategically and technically. Collaboration between Leclerc and the rest of the team will be crucial to overcoming the challenges it faces and putting the SF-25 in a competitive position against its strongest rivals, such as McLaren and Red Bull. Ferrari has taken a radical approach to developing the SF-25, seeking to improve its performance compared to its strongest competitors, such as McLaren and Red Bull. Under the direction of technical director Loic Serra, the Italian team has introduced a number of changes to the car's design to try to overcome the weaknesses they experienced with the previous year's model, particularly in high-speed corners. One of the most significant changes to the SF-25 has been the introduction of a new pull-rod front suspension, a setup already adopted by other teams such as McLaren and Red Bull. This transition marks a significant departure from the previous model, which featured a traditional pushrod suspension. The goal of this change was to improve the car's aerodynamics by allowing cleaner airflow around the front of the car. Ferrari hoped this new suspension would contribute to improved car handling at high speeds by reducing body dive and increasing downforce generated by the car's underbody. However, the results of these modifications have not been as expected. While the new suspension has allowed the car to ride lower and perform better in certain sections, problems in high-speed corners persist. The SF-25's aerodynamics have failed to match those of its main competitors, which continue to dominate in those sections of the circuit. In addition to the suspension changes, Ferrari has decided to lengthen the car's wheelbase, extending the space between the front wheels and the cockpit. This change aims to reduce the disruption to the airflow toward the side pods and floor of the car caused by the wake of the front wheels. This modification has a clear aerodynamic focus, seeking to improve the car's stability at high speed and, in turn, increase the efficiency of the downforce generated at the rear of the car. However, while these updates were promising, they have failed to bring the SF-25 to the level of competitiveness Ferrari had anticipated. The deficit in fast corners remains a persistent problem, and while the improvements have led to improved performance in certain areas, the car remains vulnerable to its rivals. In the analysis carried out by Ferrari engineers, the quest to improve speed in high downforce sectors has created an overall imbalance in the car's performance, which has affected the car's overall performance at all stages of the race. One reason for this imbalance is that improvements to the aerodynamics and suspension could have inadvertently affected the car's stability in other areas, particularly in medium-speed corners and under changing track conditions. Ferrari has been caught in a cycle of updates that, while technically advanced, have not fully resolved the fundamental issues affecting the SF-25's competitiveness. On the other hand, the team has also had to face the enormous pressure of balancing the development of the SF-25 for 2025 with preparation for the regulation changes that will be implemented in 2026. The team has allocated a total of 600 wind tunnel hours to work on the latest updates to the SF-25, while a parallel engineering team is focused on developing the car for 2026. This has created a double challenge for Ferrari, ensuring competitiveness in the 2025 season while beginning to prepare an all-new car for the following season. This short-term, long-term approach is a high-risk strategy. The SF-25 needs to remain competitive while new developments are explored, but there is also a significant focus on the 2026 car. Ferrari team principal Fred Vasseur has acknowledged that at some point during the season, the team will have to decide whether to continue investing resources in the SF-25 or shift its attention to the 2026 project. This critical decision will depend on the championship standings and how the first races of the year unfold. In short, the technical analysis of the SF-25 shows that Ferrari has made significant and bold changes to its design, but still faces challenges in implementing those improvements effectively. Although the aerodynamic and suspension updates have had positive effects in some areas, the car is still not competitive enough to challenge the grid leaders, and the team must find a balance between short-term improvements and preparing for the regulation changes coming in 2026. The pressure is mounting, and Ferrari will have to make difficult decisions if it hopes to return to the championship fight. The competitive landscape for the 2025 Formula One season is clearly dominated by two giants, McLaren and Red Bull. While Ferrari faces serious difficulties with the SF-25, these two teams have demonstrated consistent, high-quality performance, leaving Ferrari struggling to stay in the fight for the top spots. McLaren has undoubtedly been one of the most surprising and successful teams so far in 2025. After a 2024 season in which it came close to catching Ferrari in the Constructors' Championship, the Woking-based team has taken a giant step forward, cementing itself as one of the main threats on the grid. Despite high expectations for Ferrari in 2025, McLaren has managed to outperform the Scuderia in several key areas, particularly in high-speed corners. The McLaren car has shown incredible stability in fast sectors and a great ability to maintain pace throughout the race, resulting in a significant points lead. McLaren now leads the Constructors' Championship by 61 points, a considerable gap at this stage of the season. McLaren's aerodynamic setup and approach to maximizing downforce in fast sectors has been one of the determining factors in its rise to the front of the grid. With a car that appears perfectly balanced between aerodynamics and power, McLaren has managed to squeeze the most out of its performance on circuits where Ferrari used to excel, such as street circuits or high-speed tracks like Monza and Silverstone. This consistency has given them an advantage not only in qualifying but also in the races, where tire management and strategy have been key. On the other hand, Red Bull continues to be the team to beat in Formula One, despite the gap to McLaren having narrowed in 2025. Red Bull has maintained impressive consistency in all areas, particularly in terms of high-speed cornering performance and near-unbeatable reliability. Max Verstappen, who remains the main contender for the championship, has maintained his level of dominance, securing wins and key points for his team. Although Red Bull's performance has not improved as much as McLaren's, the stability and optimization of its car remain its main strength. Red Bull's dominance isn't limited to victories alone, but also to its ability to manage races impeccably. With a combination of successful strategies, great reliability, and a car that adapts perfectly to different circuit types, Red Bull remains the benchmark in Formula One. However, McLaren has reduced the lead Red Bull had built up in previous seasons, suggesting that the Milton Keynes team cannot relax if it wants to continue leading. The pressure on Ferrari is mounting as McLaren and Red Bull continue to score points at a faster pace. Ferrari currently sits fifth in the Constructors' Championship, an alarming position for a team that was a title contender. The 61-point gap to McLaren not only reflects McLaren's progress, but also the technical and strategic difficulties Ferrari has faced during the start of the season. This deficit is further amplified when considering that Ferrari was only 14 points behind McLaren in 2024, suggesting that 2025 could be the year Ferrari finally turns things around. Ferrari urgently needs to improve on several fronts if it wants to close the gap with McLaren and Red Bull. The team must improve the reliability of the SF-25, optimize its strategic decisions during races, and find a way to make its car competitive on all circuit types, especially those where McLaren and Red Bull are excelling. The fight for the Constructors' Championship in 2025 is becoming increasingly tight, and Ferrari needs to correct course quickly if it wants to become a serious contender again this season. In conclusion, McLaren and Red Bull remain Ferrari's main rivals in the 2025 season, with McLaren taking a step forward in terms of performance and consistency, while Red Bull maintains its dominance thanks to the reliability and optimization of its car. Ferrari, which began the season with high expectations, now faces a formidable challenge to make up for lost ground and keep its title hopes alive. Ferrari finds itself at a critical crossroads in the 2025 season. Despite the initial promise and expectations generated by a competitive finish to 2024, the SF-25 has proven to be riddled with technical shortcomings and reliability issues. Throughout the first few races of the year, Ferrari has struggled to keep up with its closest competitors, McLaren and Red Bull, who have demonstrated superior performance in key areas such as aerodynamics, tire management, and strategic decision-making. The Maranello team needs significant adjustments in several areas if it wants to get back on track and once again become a real contender for the Constructors' and Drivers' Championships. Leclerc, who has been one of Ferrari's strongest points this season, has been clear in pointing out both the car's technical issues and the strategic errors that have cost crucial points. The combination of a lack of performance in certain sections of the circuit, along with poor tactical decisions, has put Ferrari on the defensive against rivals like McLaren, which has seized every opportunity to advance in the standings. In this context, Ferrari must act quickly. It is essential that the team not only fix the SF-25's design and performance issues but also work on better execution of race strategies. Decisions regarding tire changes, tire temperature management, and the ability to adapt to changing conditions must improve substantially. If Ferrari cannot address these issues, the team risks falling definitively behind in the title fight. As the season progresses, the pressure on Ferrari will increase. The team has the resources and talent to improve, but time is limited. If Ferrari wants to regain its leading position in Formula One, it will need to focus on the effective development of the SF-25 and make clear decisions about how to manage its approach to the 2026 car, which will also be key to its future. With Ferrari's history and tradition in Formula One, expectations remain sky-high, and fans around the world continue to expect the team to find a way to correct its course. The 2025 season is crucial not only for the present, but also for laying the foundations for a successful future. Ferrari's ability to overcome its mistakes and improve the performance of the SF-25 will be decisive for its success in the remainder of the championship. If Ferrari can overcome these challenges and find the right rhythm, it may still have a chance to regain competitiveness and fight for the title, but everything will depend on the strategic decisions it makes in the coming months.